Just before we get going, a couple of little bits of information about DYW Northeast and today's webinar for those of you who aren't familiar with us. So Developing the Young Workforce is a Scottish Government initiative. DYW Northeast, as we are known, represent Aberdeen and Aberdeenshire, but there are regional groups just like us all the way throughout Scotland. So if you're operating nationally, you can get the same support from them as you would from us. In terms of what we do, our role in a nutshell is to make it easier for you as employers to connect with young people and to recruit them. And we do a lot of work through our coordinator team with connecting employers with schools and getting them to come into schools and speak to young people to give them an insight into the world of work at an earlier stage. But we do always want employers to consider recruiting young people as well. And one of the main ways that they can do this, giving them valuable skills, qualifications and experiences, is through apprenticeships. And we've got Amanda here from Skills Development Scotland to tell you a lot more about that. Skills Development Scotland are the national skills agency and apprenticeship sits under them, hence she's the expert and you'll get to hear from her today. We're also delighted to have Rachel O'Donnell from WM Donald with us today. She has been on an apprenticeship journey with the organisation and she's very kindly offered to share her experiences with you this afternoon, just so you can learn how someone else has done it. Now, just before I hand over to Amanda, what I would love to do is just get a gauge of where you're all at in terms of your current knowledge and confidence around apprenticeships. So we're just going to run a very, very quick poll before we get going. And hopefully that should be coming up on the screen for you now, and hopefully you should be able to vote. And we are very mindful that this webinar has been titled Getting Started with Apprenticeships. So don't feel at all bad if you're opting for I'm starting from scratch. That's what Amanda and Rachel are very much here to sort of close that gap in knowledge over the next while. Perfect. I think if everybody who's wanted to vote has done so, what we'll do without further ado is we'll close down the poll and I will in a short moment hand over to Amanda, who will tell you a little bit more about the different levels of apprenticeship, the frameworks, the funding that's available to you as employers, and if you do go ahead and offer apprenticeship opportunities, how you can then promote those opportunities to young people. So without further ado, over to you, Amanda, please.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name's Amanda Mason. I am a Relationship Account Executive with Skills Development Scotland. So my role is to support employers to access and utilise the skills system basically and everything that's available to you. So I'm going to give you a run through of our service today and would welcome any questions if anyone has any. So our employer offer, we have a number of different opportunities available for employers to engage with Skills Development Scotland. So we have our employer helpline that anyone can phone at any time and speak to our call centre. I am one of 6 in our team. We each cover a different region in Scotland. So my role specifically covers Aberdeen City and Aberdeenshire. So as I said, I'm a relationship account executive. So I work with large employers who tend to be apprenticeship levy payers. So that would be anyone with a wage bill of more than 3 million. I support you to access and maximise all the opportunities for funding that's available to you. But we also have our employer engagement executives who tend to work with SMEs. So that's companies who tend to have a headcount of less than 250. And they can work with you basically supporting you with your business growth. They can support you with producing a skills action plan that will align to your business and support you with actions going forward in terms of how you can engage with Skills Development Scotland with young people. And we also have a growth and inward investment team who work closely with Scottish Development International, who support employers who are looking to invest in Scotland and move to Scotland. So that's our employer offer. So if after today's webinar, any of you would like a one-to-one meeting or with myself or with the SME team, just please get in touch. And you'll have my contact details. So in Scotland, we're really lucky. We have 3 different types of apprenticeship program in Scotland. We have foundation, modern and graduate apprenticeship program. And I'm going to touch on all 3 of these programs today. And I'm going to talk about how you can access them, the benefits of them, and any funding associated with them. So foundation apprenticeships are for senior phase people still at school, normally in S5. There are 12 different frameworks that are available, and in Aberdeen City and Shire we have a number of providers who are delivering the foundation apprenticeship, but it's whereby a young person can choose to do a foundation apprenticeship as one of their subject choices, and it means they would undertake a formal qualification alongside some work experience. They mainly sit at SCQF level 6, but we do have some frameworks at level 4 and 5, and those frameworks are here, as you can see. Like I said, there's 12 different frameworks that are available covering all different areas of industry. And what we look for is when I'm talking to employers about engaging young people and looking to recruit people into their modern apprenticeship program, I encourage them to engage in the foundation apprenticeship program because it allows you to bring young people into your business whilst they're still at school, so that when you are actually looking to recruit your modern apprentices, this could be your recruitment pipeline into your modern apprenticeship program. So some of the benefits to you as an employer: obviously you get an early access to future talent. There's no actual cost to you as an employer. This is purely looking for your commitment into giving young people an insight into your industry, but also then that young person is able to walk away with a formal qualification. And if they then decide that they want to use that qualification then to, like I say, move on to a modern apprenticeship, that's great, but they could also use that qualification then as entry into university and a number of other things. So it's fantastic for everybody. It also gives you an opportunity to support your internal staff to become coaches and mentors of these young people. So these young people are looking at what their future might look like. They're looking at getting real valuable industry experience, and you can do that through the foundation apprenticeship. And obviously it's introducing diversity into your workforce as well. Like I say, because the young people are still at school, it's not actually costing you anything other than your time and your commitment to the programme. It's really fantastic. I wish foundation apprenticeships were available while I was still at school, because I absolutely would have taken up the opportunity to do one. So then we have our modern apprenticeship programme, which is the most established programme we've got in Scotland, and the majority of employers are already familiar with modern apprenticeships, already using modern apprenticeships. But if you're not, it's whereby you have young people, they are employed by you, you're giving them a contract of employment, they're your employee and you're responsible for paying their salary. But whilst they're working for you, you are giving them training on the job, and they are most likely attending college or a training provider, either on block release or day release, to undertake their apprenticeship. There are over 100 different types of apprenticeship from every area. And we have a huge range of training providers that deliver our apprenticeships in Aberdeen City and Shire. I'm going to show you a list of. So I'm going to show you, this is a contribution rate table for the apprenticeship frameworks. Now, I won't go into too much detail, but like I said, you are responsible for the salary of the individual, and then Skills Development Scotland will fund the training provider of your choice. So if you chose the local college or local training provider to deliver your particular apprenticeship, then Skills Development Scotland would fund the training provider directly. And you can see the rates on here, and it's based on the age of the apprentice. So the 3 age groups are 16 to 19, 20 to 24, and 25 plus. Now, all of those age ranges are funded, but they are at contribution rate. So the most popular one I use is the engineering for our region, obviously, because I know that's funded at £10,200 for a 16 to 19-year-old apprentice. And like I say, that funding goes directly to the employer and it's paid over the duration of the apprenticeship. And you don't see the money as the employer. But if anyone wants a copy of the full contribution rates for the full apprenticeship programme, then I'll happily share that. And I think we're sharing the slides with you all after today, so you can see that in there. Some of the benefits to recruiting an apprentice is obviously it's a flexible program. It means that the young person who is working for you is training at the same time. It's a way of bringing fresh young talent into the business, and it's a way of building your workforce for the future. You're growing your own talent. You can also use the modern apprenticeship program to upskill existing employees. So you don't only have to use the program to bring in young people into the business. If you have existing employees who don't have a formal qualification, you can use the modern apprenticeship for that as well. There is a myth that there's no funding for 25 plus age apprentices, and that's not the case. There is funding available. It's just at a reduced rate to the 16 to 19-year-old funding. So again, if anybody would like to discuss that in more detail, I'll happily have that conversation. There are statistics to prove that having apprentices within your business will improve productivity, staff morale, and your overall quality of service. And it's a way of retaining your talent and reducing your recruitment costs, bringing young people. So you can see how working with the DYW, but also utilising your foundation apprenticeship programme and then progressing onto your modern apprenticeship programme is the best way to really bring young talent into your business and new talent into your business, and it makes perfect sense. Like I said, the programs are contribution based funding, but you are responsible for the salary for your apprentice. I'm going to move on to graduate apprenticeship programs. So this is a way of training and upskilling your existing staff up to degree level. So there are 14 universities in Scotland that are offering the graduate apprenticeship programme, and it's delivered in the same way as a modern apprenticeship programme. So we have RGU in our region delivering the majority of frameworks for the graduate apprenticeship. So obviously they're on our doorstep, and it's a way of training staff at a much higher level to the modern apprenticeship, but can also be used as a progression from modern apprenticeship into a graduate apprenticeship. So again, you can use the graduate apprenticeship to upskill existing staff within your workforce if they don't already have a degree level qualification, but you can also use it to bring new people into the business as a graduate apprenticeship. So there are a number of different frameworks available, as you can see here. Lots of different frameworks available, and some of the benefits of the graduate apprenticeship program. So it's a way of bringing that higher level employee into your business because they're obviously working at a degree level. The apprentice, so some of the employers that I work with, the reason why they really love the graduate apprenticeship is because the person is working on the tools, as we say, and gaining that knowledge and experience, that academic knowledge, at the same time as working at a much higher level than an apprentice would. But like I say, the fantastic opportunity is to use the modern apprentices in your business to upskill them and put them on a graduate apprenticeship. So at the end of their training, you've brought young people into your business with all the benefits they bring, and you're training them up to a graduate apprenticeship level. So the graduate apprenticeship program at the moment is fully funded, and on average it takes 4 years to complete a graduate apprenticeship, but it's not to be underestimated the commitment on the individual and the employer for undertaking the graduate apprenticeship, because the person is still doing a full-time job, but obviously they're studying for a degree as well, part-time. So it's important that you allow the individual time to, one, attend campus, but also giving them time to study as part of their working timetable as well. We have developed a brand new website for employers, and it's called the Employer Hub. There are lots and lots of really helpful tools on that website that can support you as employers. there's a way to do, you can do a skills management tool. We have a whole section to complete role comparison, and you can even build a skills profile on the new website. There is a tab in there where you can access any funding opportunities. And if anyone wants any more information, like I say, on the hub, then please just let me know and we can run through that. We have a main apprenticeship website in Scotland called apprenticeship.scot. And as an employer, there is an employer section for you on the website. This allows you to see more information about foundation, modern, graduate apprenticeships that are available. It allows you to see all of the different training providers that are delivering each of those programs by each region in Scotland. There's also a new section for guidance for employers. So we've produced an employer guide for any employer wanting to access or utilise FAs, MAs and GAs. We've also produced some guidance around inclusive recruitment for your apprentices as well. And everything is on there, but something that's really helpful as well is our advertising section. So if as an employer you want to advertise for a modern or a graduate apprentice, then you can do so on our website, and it's absolutely free. But what it means is that when you're advertising for those vacancies, it means that everyone in our region can have sight of those vacancies. So it means our careers advisors can promote them in the schools. It means our local DYW group can promote them as well. And it just gives every young person the opportunity to apply for that vacancy, not just because they know you or they have contacts within your business. So that's our apprenticeship website. Thank you. Like I say, my name's Amanda Mason, and if anyone has any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. I know that was obviously a really quick whistle-stop tour of the support available, but I just wanted to touch on each of the programs so that you could see the benefits of them to your business, really. Thank you, Claire.
Thank you very much, Amanda. I found that really useful, and I hope that the others on the call did as well. We are speaking with employers all the time as a DYW North East group. Employer liaison is what we do, and we are hearing some really wonderful stories now from employers who have maybe started a young person at foundation apprenticeship level, or at the earliest version of the foundation apprenticeships, and they've gone on through the modern and onto the graduate apprentice, and it's just wonderful to see that skills development, that journey. And I think in terms of retaining staff, which can be a key concern for employers, that's just a really great thing to do. So that was really useful. As Amanda said, which I forgot to say properly at the start of the webinar, is you will be getting copies of the slides, so don't worry about having to make copious notes as we go along. And we'll also send you out an extra document with quick links to areas and resources and local providers that we hope you'll find useful. So you will get all that afterwards as well. You'll have our contact details too to if you've got any specific requests as well. And I know that Amanda mentioned RGU specifically with regards to graduate apprenticeships. I think I can spy that we have at least one, if not two, representatives on the call. So use the Q&A today if you've got any specific questions. We do have experts in the virtual room, so to speak.
Sorry, Kate, can I just add, sorry, they obviously are, we can use any of the universities. As an employer, you can use any of the universities, but obviously I picked RGU because they're in our region, and this is our employers in the region on the call.
Yeah,
so
of course, because we're doing DYW North East as well. I'm giving them a special shout out.
Yeah.
And I know they've made the effort to come along today, which is absolutely great. What I would like to do next, without further ado, I don't see any questions right now for you on the chat, Amanda. So I think without further ado, I'll go ahead and introduce Rachel. Do feel free to pop any questions in the chat. Oh, I think we see one here. So we'll just maybe pick it up now while Rachel gets herself ready. Just we've got a question of what kind of support is available for likes of trainee dental technicians. There is a work-based course available at University of Aberdeen. Do you know if there's anything with regards to apprenticeships there, Amanda?
For dental, I will go and check. And are we okay to get an email response to that person asking the question?
I'm very happy to facilitate that, provided that's all right with you, Amanda. And thanks for that question, Barbara. Just something that we'll have to maybe look into a little bit more detail for you. I can see that Rachel's all good to go with her slides in the meantime, so I'll hand over to her now. Thanks.
Fantastic. Good morning, all. I'm Rachel O'Donnell. I am the HR manager for WM Donald, and I've been asked to share my employer experience with you today. WM Donald, they are a family-run business. We're based in Netherley, Stonehaven. We do have offices in Inverness and in Dundee and Perth. We began in 1977, and we specialise in civil engineering and construction, delivering a variety of projects across the North East, whether it's construction, roads, sewers, utilities, networks, bridges, and foundations and structures. I joined WM Donald in 2021. My background with apprenticeships was virtually zero. I worked in oil and gas, and prior to that, I worked in retail, and apprenticeships didn't exist then. I remember I had to do a 1-week placement. So when I joined WM Donald, I was given these challenges from my board. We had a skill shortage, we had an ageing workforce, there was no apprentices in the workplace, there was lack of funding, dare I say it, COVID. Does everybody remember COVID in 2021? There was no local colleges, and SECA, they were telling us all that the perception of construction is that it's cold, dark and dangerous. So how can we change that perception and actually get apprentices in? So that was the challenges that I faced when I joined WM Donald in March 2021. So I just wanted to share this slide because, again, I think it just goes to show you where we were in 2021. I call this my HR scorecard. So we had at the time 140 employees. There was only 10 females in the workplace. The average age of our employees was 45. So that just re-emphasises that we did have an ageing workforce. We had no trainees. We had no apprentices. They were an apprentice levy employer, and if any of you in this chat are levy employers, you'll know how much that can cost. They received £10,000 in funding over the last 2 years prior to me joining, and they had no awards, industry awards to shout about. So that's where I was in 2021. So I set myself some challenging objectives and tried to get them delivered for 2022 and 2023. And you can see at the top was look at setting up an apprentice programme, setting up an apprentice academy, look at our training plans, collaborate with all the training providers within the North East area, collaborate with CITB, looking at obviously collaborating with Grampian Construction Training, look at trying to change that perception of cold, dark and dangerous, how I can upskill the current workforce, and look at what community activity that WM Donald could obviously get involved in. So to help me along the journey, because bear in mind in slide 1, I had no experience whatsoever with apprentices. I didn't know where to start. So again, I collaborated with other companies, other training providers, DYW, the colleges, CITB, to obviously upskill my knowledge to see what was actually out there, what apprenticeship schemes were out there, and what funding was available to the company. And we also set up a forum with our competitors, so our Nicholas Skeens, Leiths, Hunters, to get them involved, because we could recognise that there was a shortage of apprentices in construction and civil engineering. So in 2021, I recruited our first 10 apprentices. So you can see on this slide here, we had 10 apprentices, but then to the shock and horror to myself, the only college that run this programme, the Modern Apprenticeship, was Glasgow or Inverness. Now my team, the 10 apprentices, they all lived up in Aberdeen. So I was totally shocked by this, that it was not being run at Aberdeen. So as I said earlier, we set up a forum and we worked with Leiths, Nicholas Skeen, Hunters, JKR and AA Civils, and we got Nescall Aberdeen on board. Okay, that did take us about 6 months to get them on board, and we had to commit for the next 5 years that we would fill, if they got a teacher to run this programme, we would fill that class for the next 5 years. So that's 16 apprentices over 5 years between the 5 of us. But again, during this time, again, with the course down in Glasgow, we didn't think that it fitted the needs of our business. So again, Nescall were very, very open to look at the programme and what we could do to tailor it so it does fit the needs of our business. So we have successfully tailored the programme for year 2 of the apprenticeship. which I will cover obviously over in the next slide. But then if you look at this slides here, if you look 2022, I still continue to put them to Glasgow. We had 4 went to Glasgow. We got 5 into Aberdeen, and we had 4 graduate engineers as well. And they go to a variety of universities. We've got 2 that goes to Inverness, and we've got 2 that actually goes to Dundee. And we've also got a mechanic apprentice as well. We then branched out in 2023, and we've got 2 apprentices in Inverness. We continued with Aberdeen, we've got 5, and we continued with our graduate apprentices as well. And then we've branched out to looking at trainees, and we have looked at foundation apprenticeships as well. Okay. So this is the actual year 2 programme that we have obviously influenced with NESCOL, and it is continuing now, but we can change it if we want to. So you can influence the college as well and bolt it on to the apprenticeship. So our apprentices will now, obviously, they will graduate in 2 years with their apprenticeship qualification, but they will also have these additional qualifications: manual handling, confined space, asbestos awareness, vehicle marshalling, street work, steel shoring, banksman slinger, mental health, and first aid at work. And we are now finding there's more people in the North East trying to get onto this programme because they can see the benefits, and obviously our apprentices are fully qualified and probably more qualified than the apprentices that they currently have. So looking back at the stats, so we are now an employer with 244 employees. We have now doubled the females on our workforce, and we actually have 5 based on site, whereas in 2021 we had 0. Our average age has come down now to 36. We have got 4 trainees in the business, 6 graduate apprentices, 1 mechanic apprentice, and 41 apprentices. I have to say the uptake this year has been amazing, and this has come down to DYW. I actually advertised the apprenticeship on DYW. I was only looking for 3 apprentices for this year's intake, but the calibre of candidates, I got 30 CVs. I have gone back to NESCOL with a begging bowl and asked them, could they run another cohort, because I could fill that class with the candidates that came through my door this year. And I stand here today very, very proud that NESCOL have agreed. So I have taken on another 15 apprentices for this year, because there's so much benefits of having an apprentice in your workplace, and I think the stats actually show it. Our awarding for training and our funding, we've managed over the last 2 years to get back £200,000 from CITB, and we are a multiple award-winning company since 2021, and a lot of that has gone into, you know, what we've put into the apprenticeship and what we've done to sustain, you know, the company and sustain the industry. So again, just the proof in the pudding. So yeah, Northern Star, last year we were awarded Staff Matter. We were finalists this year for 3 categories, so influencing futures, and that is all down to the apprenticeship programme and the trainee programme we have in place. We are finalists for family business, and we are finalists for business of the year. The trade awards, we got apprentice of the year in 2022, and we got a rising star last year in 2023, and again that was a graduate apprentice that received that award. And then last year, yeah, the cherries, we were award-winning in learning and development, and that was very much the work that we put into our apprenticeship programme and our training programme. We were the employer of the year, and we were the HR leader of the year. So there is so many benefits with investing in apprenticeships, from reduced turnover, increased productivity. But as an HR, I absolutely love seeing the apprentices coming in at the start of their programme and seeing them at the end of the programme, and then they actually continually grow within WM Donald. It gives me such a great sense of achievement, and they stay with us. You know, our apprentices that graduated last year, you know, that's been with us for 3 years, and hopefully they'll be with us, you know, throughout their career. That is me. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, I'm open to any questions.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Wow, that was a lot packed into a short space of time, and a lot of wonderful activity packed into 2 to 3 years.
Yes.
Just mind blowing. Thank you very much for talking us through that. That was really, really useful. And Rachel's slides will also be shared as well after the webinar today. Does anybody have any questions for either of our speakers at this stage? I'll give everyone a couple of more minutes to think, but in the meantime, I'll maybe jump in if that's okay, Amanda and Rachel, and ask a couple that have come to my mind. I'll go to Amanda first while Rachel closes down her slideshow. Just the pace of change just now bewilders me. I think we've all heard the statistics that young people will end up doing jobs that aren't invented yet and so forth. Just with that in mind, and with the apprenticeships, frameworks, and there are a lot of them, particularly in the modern apprenticeship field. Do you expect more apprenticeships to be added to the current offering as time goes on, Amanda? I know you can only give us the information on what's available just now. Totally understand that, but just really wondered how Skills Development Scotland sort of monitors that need for perhaps new frameworks and so forth.
Okay. Well, we're always looking for employers to contribute to changes in industry, so we quite often update the apprenticeship frameworks, and while we're doing that, as part of that piece of work, we run technical expert groups, and we're always asking for employer feedback, because if we don't know what's happening in industry, obviously we're engaged with all the industry bodies, but we need to hear from employers what the needs are for the future. So if an employer knows they're going to need a specific skill, then we need to know that. So we need to hear that from you. So I would say apprenticeship frameworks are always being updated through those technical expert groups and through our skills bodies. I would say there's limited funds at the moment for developing new frameworks, and because obviously there are so many already, but the ones that we do have are being regularly updated to reflect the changes and the updates within industry. But I would say if anybody's identified a specific skills need, then please let us know. If you feel that you have a gap there that's not being filled, then please let us know.
No, that's brilliant, Amanda. It's great to know that it's continually sort of evolving based on employer input. And I think Rachel alluded to that as well, that NESCOL as a training provider have been very open to having that two-way dialogue. And I know, again, just from my conversations in the past with RGU, that their qualifications are very much designed hand in hand with their employer partners, which is just fantastic. Rachel, you stuffed so much into your presentation, and I think it's going to be quite hard to maybe do this, but I was wondering, bearing in mind that people on the webinar, maybe with much far smaller organisations, they might just be looking to dip their toe in the water to take on one first apprentice. Do you have a top tip that would suit those who are just thinking about it just now? What one thing do you wish you'd known before you started?
I'm going to say there's nothing to lose, because if you think, when I first started, I knew nothing about apprentices, and where we are now, there's so much support and so much benefit. Even taking on one apprentice, last year we tapered off and only had 3. And if someone had said to me, last week you're going to be taking on another 15, I'd thought, no, we don't have that space, we don't have that need. There is so many benefits, and even just taking on one apprentice, you will see that, because you're going along that journey with them. For me, I've been very, very fortunate that I've got a senior team that back it, because you do need that back, and you can't just do it on your own, because it is an investment, but it is so worthwhile to put that investment in, have your team behind you, because you will see the benefits.
Perfect, Rachel. That's really useful. And I know you very, very kindly alluded to the support that's been available from DYW. You think that's helped you recruit, have a good response to apprenticeship recruitment. And just for those on the call, again, who may not know much about what we do, I think I mentioned that we do have school coordinators who work very closely with schools, and WM Donald has made that effort to run skills days with school pupils, and it's all about that awareness, I think, of your organisation and awareness of the role that they're applying for. And so then when the positions come up, our coordinators will again promote those into the local schools, so that there's that awareness, but the young people aren't coming to it blind. It's not just a black and white job description. They're maybe already aware of WM Donald, hopefully. They've maybe, you know, been on one of those, one of the skills days, and they're thinking this is an organisation I want to work with. So hopefully that's where we play our very small part in helping make that connection and helping with your recruitment. And it's lovely to hear that that's working. So I would say that time invested at school level is hopefully not wasted at all from an employer's perspective. I don't see any other questions on the chat just now, but please feel free to unmute your mic or raise a virtual hand if anybody has anything just now. If not, I'm conscious that it is probably your lunch hour and that we don't often get a free 20 minutes back. So I'm very happy to close off the call. But as I say, our contact details will be on the follow-up information. Just before I let you all go, what I would like to do is to just run ask you all a very quick question. We'll just run another very quick poll just to see if the last 40 minutes have hopefully provided you with some value in terms of closing the knowledge gap a bit about apprenticeships. That's brilliant. Nice to see those results coming in as well. And I think before everyone goes as well, I'd also like to give a huge thank you to both Amanda and Rachel for sharing their time and their expertise so generously today. I always learn something on these webinars, so I'm very grateful too. But thank you very much indeed to both of you. And I hope everybody has a good rest of day. And as I say, the follow-up materials will be winging their way to inboxes very soon. Thank you very much.